Hello everyone, welcome back to the Chupacabra tutorials channel. I'm your pal Larry, that Chupacabra guy who's gonna teach you stuff today. And something that's been asked more than once on both my regular gaming channel and also the tutorial channel is, Larry, could you do a tutorial talking about how you went about making your own banner design? Well, I won't focus so much on how I made my Chupacabra's Lair banner, because I just kind of did some stuff because I liked low poly artwork at the time. But we're going to talk about how to go and make your own. You can also see, like, this is my tutorial channel wallpaper. There isn't a lot of really fancy shit going on here. There's a very simple background that doesn't sort of distract from what's going on in the foreground. And I've got my title, Chupacabra Tutorials, my little Chupacabra icon that I've made multiple different versions of for multiple different reasons. And then icons from all of the different software that I felt like at the time I would be giving people tutorials on how to do stuff with it, or in the case of YouTube back here, on the platform. And that's really, like, let's look up an example. Who's one that I can think of off the top of my head? The Rad Brad dude on YouTube is a good example. And if you want examples, like, just go look around YouTube. There's lots of people who have non-hand illustrated backdrops and stuff, like the Rad Brad. And all it is they took some of their favorite video games and they put all this stuff together so that it didn't look dumpy and stupid. That's all they did, and it wasn't super duper advanced. Did I have a previous tutorial that I put together for this? I feel like I did. I don't remember. I mess around with a lot of different side projects that never see the light of day. I guess if I did, I deleted it. So here's the Rad Brad. And all he did was he took some, like, pre-made vector objects, like this little ribbon, and he just said, the Rad Brad, the king of YouTube walkthrough, professional chair thrower. And then he's got, like, Isaac Clarke from Dead Space, this guy, Lara Croft, and some Street Fighter dude, and he doesn't even have a fancy background. So all you need, the name of your channel or whatever branded thing you want, some characters from games that you feel like playing or you want, or if you're not a YouTube gamer, because I'm assuming a lot of people who are going to be in here are, you can do, like, if it's a cooking show, put food stuff in there. If you're someone else, just put whatever, man. It's not weird. So the first thing we need, what was I looking up here? Oh, that was from a video I made earlier, YouTube Red, which was processing right here in the background. So I'll be exporting that after I'm done here. But what we want is, we want to get some sort of background image for use in our thing. And then what we're going to do with it, when we get it off of this website, up unsplash.com, Unsplash and similar websites like this, they provide you with images that are royalty free. You can use them for free. No one cares. You don't even have to give people credit. You just come on here and pick one that you like, and you use it for a background image. And here's one. Let's use this one. This is like a very sort of multi-purpose background. It's cool. It's all metallic looking. It's probably part of, like, a building somewhere. And we'll hit download, and then I can save this to the banner tutorial folder that I've made, if it wants to behave itself. It appears, there it goes. My computer has been having all sorts of opinions since I upgraded to the new version of Mac OS X, so if you haven't done that yet and you have a Mac, don't flip and do that for a while. It's kind of a piece of shit right now. So we got a wallpaper, a background, and what are we gonna do with that background? Well, if you Google YouTube channel art or YouTube banner templates, you can find your way to this YouTube help page on how to design your own YouTube banner. It's got, like, the dimensions, 2560 by 1440 pixels, and you can download this channel art template for Photoshop. It might also work for the image editor of your choice, but most people use Photoshop. And we'll open that up into here, and look, there's a couple layers here. There's the layer that says where everything is, like, this is the area that you'll see on the desktop and mobile, and then this is the maximum desktop distance, but what you really want is you want most of the stuff going on in your banner to happen in this middle box text and logo safe area right here. Everything else is what's going to show up if like someone watches your channel on a smart TV, if someone watches your channel on a tablet, this is the area over here, this whole square for tablet, and then for like a huge desktop, like I got like a 28-inch screen on this Mac, it'll show up in this area, this segment over here. So we've got that image, yeah? Let's see here. It's down here under my downloads. Let me just drag that over to Photoshop. So we got this image. Let's select all, Command or Control A, copy it, move it back over here, and we're going to paste it over top of this thing that says Your Art Here. And we're going to lock off this other layer, this folder full of all these little bits that indicate what thing goes where. We're not going to edit that. That's just a guide post to help us understand where everything's going to go. Now, this image is kind of big, so I'm actually going to move it down to display some of the darker parts. And already we can kind of see like good things are happening here. So we got our background. Now, what's the next element that we need? So what goes... Don't flip and do that. Frickin' file folder finder, you son of a... Alright, here we go. So, what do I got? I got the logo for my channel, Chupacabra Tutorials, and I use my branded font that I've paid for to do that. So that's my Chupacabra font, and it's 3D-ified. I didn't do that through a secondary program. That is done through Photoshop. You can do that whenever. So I got the title... I've got my icon. Now we need to throw a bunch of stuff in here. So first, I'm going to open up Font Book. You can open up your fonts folder in Windows, and I'm going to pick a font that I've downloaded for use in this tutorial. I downloaded one that was all weird and wibbly wobbly. Stiff Staff is a popular font among streamers, for Twitch streamers. I got one for Transformers, Typo Slab. What is looking good? I want something kind of simple like this. Russo 1. Something that doesn't have a lot of curves or a lot of complexity to it, that's easy to read at a glance. Like this thing. This thing is terrible. Don't use something like this. This is just awful. People will hate you. Don't use this. This was for Fallout. Oh, geez, I have got so many fonts that just kind of accumulate over time for different projects. Duke's okay. Dino, I love Dino Sans. Italic. 28 days later, no. I got one just for this purpose. I just can't remember. Here it is, Hacked. So this is a free font developed based off of the Watchdog title font. So we're going to come back into here and we're going to grab the text tool, hit T. We're going to type, let's go up to the font selector. We'll type in Hacked or whatever font you want to use. Whoops. What all is open right now? Oh, that's right. I had a stopwatch open. Woo-doo-doo. Alright. So, let's see here. What do we want to call this channel? I'm going to give you these guys this template for free, by the way. You can download this and fuck with it. You can change the pieces. It's whatever. So let's see. Let's call this channel The Dread Panda. Oh, look. I fucked up the because I can't type tonight. Isn't that crap just the best? So this is all hacker type now. You can see. And we want to turn back on that top layer where that logo safe region was. And we want to make sure that our font fits nicely within the center here. We want it really nicely centered. And you know what? Let's give it a nice, comfortable bit of room because we didn't really overcrowd the other banners. And this is the same way I went about designing my other two banners, is just like this. So we've got the Dread Panda type, yeah? We have the Dread Panda. If you wanted to, you could zoom in here and remove like Avid or whatever the hell that is in there. But here's our title, The Dread Panda, and I'm going to want to stick a stroke on that. let's make, well, first off, let's make a smaller stroke than this, like, I don't know, 15 pixels thick? That seems pretty decent. We might not want that in a second. I'll go over 3D effects and stuff. But we got our basic start, so we need some games now. I'm assuming a lot of you guys may not have a branded icon, so we won't put one in here. Maybe we'll play around with mine just for fun. So we got the Dread Panda. Now we want to have icons, like the Rad Brad. He's got, like, people back here. So what are the young people into these days? Star Wars is a big one. The new Battlefront. Star Wars Battlefront Beta PNG. So why did you search PNG, Larry? Well, PNG images are the image extension that people use when they want to make a transparency. You could also search for a transparency. So let's see, Star Wars PNG, and what does this give us? So here we go. So we could put like stormtroopers in there. We've got the new villain from the new movie we could throw in there. And you can use most games characters in your banners and stuff. Usually they don't give a shit. It's just free advertising as far as they're concerned. But don't make it like all about one game. It's a good idea to like mix and match. So we got some characters. Let's see. Let's add some. I like War Thunder. Let's look up War Thunder Tiger PNG. So there we go. We have a Tiger tank PNG. Awesome. I love the Tiger. It's a beastly tank. It's the German murder machine. We can also grab one of these things. I don't know what that is. I think that's a Walker Bulldog. Yeah, that's looking sweet. So, here you go. If you see this checker pattern, this means it's transparent. If I turn off all of the layers in Photoshop, oh look, there's that checker pattern. Oh boy. So let's save these to my hard drive. Let's just view the image, save it out to that. Let's just make a folder for these. Let's call them like bits. And then we'll save that. And this, oh yeah, this guy's going to be great addition. Look how sweet and murdery this guy looks. Oh yeah. Then we can have Darth What's-His tits. Perfect. Let's add this one. The tiger is a very low res image. Doesn't look nearly as good. Let's add Dead Space 3 PNG, just because we can. Oh look, both the characters together in one convenient slot. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. What else do we want? League of Legends PNG, because this is the game the young people play. Let's throw some Katarina in there, because having a pair of tits in your banner probably couldn't hurt, right? So we'll just grab you. And we'll grab you. So when you're looking for images like this, PNG searches are a great way to do it, but if you see something from DeviantArt, be careful when using that, because that's probably someone's fan art. It's a good idea to get their permission first, if you can contact them. Otherwise, just use a different image. You don't want people mad at you. You don't want to be that guy that steals art, do you? That would just suck. That's lame. Don't do that, man. That sucks. Or at the very least, link back to the creator's profile in your channel description in the About section, so you can give them credit for some of their artwork. I mean, that's only fair. You wouldn't want someone to steal your video and not give you credit, right? So we've got pictures and junk, yeah? So let's just start dragging them into Photoshop one by one. I can just pull and drag them from the bottom of my bar there, but you could also go to File, Open, or Browse in Bridge and start pulling in different objects. You could also open them as a smart object, but we'll get to that another day, huh? I don't like that Stormtrooper. He's kind of clipped off. What about Darth What's-His Fanny? Star Wars Force Unleashed. This guy's kind of cut off at the bottom, you know? Like, he's chopped off at the waist. So we could use this guy, and I actually want to put you below our title so that you could appear like this, and let's make sure you fit in, yep, you fit in the square pretty well. So the thing that we can do is we can click this little button at the bottom of the screen called Add New Layer Mask, which will put this little white box next to it. And this lets us, using this layer mask and the brush tool, I just hit B, or you can just click the brush tool on the side of the screen, and I can blend using magic alpha channels. So basically this just allows me to control the transparency. And at any time I can disable this layer mask and give him his feet back. Or I can apply the layer mask. And this way you can like erase stuff, but if you want to use the full image later, it's all still there, none of it's been destroyed. So there we have Mr. Force Unleashed. So he's Darth What's-His-Face. Let's add, what was next? Force Unleashed, Sith Warrior. What is this? Oh, here we go, that tank. And these are just games that I kind of like. You can add whatever images you'd like. It's your, once you download this template and start to fart around with it, it's all yours to fuck with. Do with it as you please. Now, I think I already see one problem. Now, what is that problem? I hear you asking hypothetically in the background. This background, this wallpaper, is a little bit busy. Like, there's a lot of detail here. Like, I can zoom in. Look, you can see the frickin' texture on that. So I'm going to go up to Filter. I'm going to go to Blur. And let's add a motion blur to this. Oh, yeah, look at that. So what this does is it's like you're moving the camera quickly from side to side as you are taking a picture. And this we can add like a nice motion-y blur. See, it's like it's moving. It's like, da-na-na-na-na-na-na. It's like the $1 million person man creature. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And so that kind of destroys the whole purpose of having like a nice high-depth wallpaper. But all of these are just means to an end. We really just want to get all of this stuff to the point where it makes a nice banner for you. And if we lose some of the detail along the way, don't worry about it. It's fine. And actually, I'm going to add an adjustment layer here, a curves layer. I'm going to pull up the light layers a little bit, the darker layers, so that we can see a little bit better, so we can make out darker shapes in our little figures. So we got like this little tank here, and we got that thing, and what else did we want? We've got here's the tank, the M4B, or the M48A2. Now we're going to add Katarina from League of Legends. Yes, I'm aware of what it is. And we'll just this is, I'm pretty sure this is just the stock artwork. So why did somebody put their little thing on it? That's fucking stupid. This is just from the stock artwork that League of Legends made. Don't put your thing on it when it's not yours, you spicy devils. And we're going to stick her like over here. We're going to slant this image a little bit so we can see more of her delicious bod. And then there, we've got Katarina, we've got a tank, we got a Sith Warrior, and now we just need our Dead Space characters. So those were at the bottom. I think here it is. Isaac and what's-his-face. I forget. Doesn't matter. Well, let's get this guy, Carver. That's what his name was. So we'll copy Carver after we selected him with the square marquee tool up here. And then we'll tab back over and dump him into the frame. And remember how we chopped off the lower half of the Sith Lord because we couldn't really see his bod? I'm actually going to transform this. Go to Edit, Transform. Flip this horizontally to switch him around. Because I want some of these characters looking in a different direction. I'm actually going to sneak him behind our Sith Warrior. Just because I can, because I'm fancy like that, man. And I won't even have to trim off his lower half. Look, now he's hiding. See, he's hanging out in the back, ready to murder people if the Sith Lord falls in battle. This Katarina has got a really weird color cast to her body. That's annoying. I could maybe get rid of that. Where is she? Here she is on layer 4. I'm going to hit Command U to open up the hue and saturation panel. That's Control U. For you folks over on Windows. And I'm going to select the cyans. That's kind of like a light cyan color. I'm going to try and adjust that so it's like a color that isn't so stupid. Purple blends okay. Let's put it at the purple. Yeah, that's a much nicer color for her leg and crotch region. Perfect. And how does this all fit so far? Not bad. Let's just grab the whole lot of them. And we'll just bring them down a little bit. As long as they're roughly within the logo title safe area, it really doesn't matter if it's off, like skewed to one side or not. So long as you can see everything. So that's looking decent. Yeah. We got a nice wallpaper banner thing going here. I'm not loving the stroke effect here, so let's open these effects and take off stroke. Hit OK. What? Can I just remove the effects? I forget. Blending options, clear layer styling. There we go. So on its own, that doesn't look terrible, but I feel like I want a color. So let's see here. Let's go to 3D. And how did I do this before? Here we go. 3D. No, I don't want maps, man. I want you to bevel it and emboss it and bring it out into the real world. 3D extrusion. That's probably, yeah, that's what we want. So we'll go to 3D. We'll hit 3D extrusion. Yes, I would like to switch. No, don't switch to, well, no, don't switch to the 3D workspace. I'm not going to spend that much time in 3D workspace. So there we go. There is the Dread Panda. It's kind of 3D now. You can kind of see that. Where was it I wanted to go to handle the style of material used? No, that's not what I wanted to do. That just looks shitty. Not that preset or this. Well, that one's not terrible, but I would like to throw on a color. So let's... I guess you can't hit Command U, but we'll just convert to a smart object so that that is just a simple object. Oh wait, no, I don't want to do that. That's got a shadow. Let's turn that shadow off. Now, where was it I turned the shadows off? I forget. I don't use the 3D tool that often. I bet you can tell. But if you want to use it, that's how. So let's go to Window Workspace 3D. Because this will make it a hell of a lot. Here we go. Now we've got all of our 3D objects here. So where is the... Here we go. I want to delete that shadow. I don't want a shadow in here. So, solid surface. Lines. No, I don't want to see the lines. That's ugly. Lines are ugly. I also don't want to see the points. They changed this since I last messed around. There used to just be like a thing. Turn off... Oh, here it is. Turn off the shadow. Yay! I don't need lines. Don't give me lines. Don't give me your sauce. Alright, so we'll go back to layers. Okay, that looks pretty decent, so we'll just convert to a smart object. We'll go back to Window Workspace, the default Essentials workspace, which is what I was using before. And we're gonna mess with this now, and we're gonna add like a color to it. So it's got like that cool 3D effect, but I want my Dread Panda logo to have a sweet color, man. So we're gonna hit the Colorize button in the Hue and Saturation panel, and we're gonna give it a bit of a hue here. So it's kind of blue. I like that. Do we want blue? Do we want purple? Do we want... I think we kind of want like a bluey teal, maybe? Or do we just want to like a... Oh yeah, the Dread Panda, he's red, he's scary, he's spicy. You don't want to fuck with a panda. We'll like pull down the darkness to really bright up the red. Yeah. Now how does that look when we back up? That looks okay, like you could just leave it at that, but we can duplicate this. We can rasterize this layer first off, but let's duplicate it. Let's grab the layer, pull it down to the new layer icon, duplicate it, turn off the old one so we have a copy of it in case we need it. And let's rasterize this puppy dog so it doesn't, like, lag us out or anything. So now we got a nice raster version of this logo. It's all red. It's got some cool 3D stuff going on, although it's a little pixely if you zoom way in because it's not a very good font that I picked. Free fonts are hit or miss. And we'll talk in a minute about where you find good fonts if you'd like. I'll try to remember to put all of these URLs in the description because I'll just leave the tabs open on my computer. You'll notice that I just kind of leave shit open. Yeah, look at all this crap. Just full of shit. I got Kickstarters open, I got my email, I've got YouTube, obviously. I got all sorts of junk, man. So, what are you going to do, Larry? Well, I'm going to copy this again, and I am going to change this top color to be kind of like an offset color of what we've got here to kind of add like a cheap, lazy gradient. So we'll kind of give it like an orangey tint. Orange is a pretty neutrally color for everybody. Then we're going to throw on another layer mask, and we're going to hit B to open up our paint bucket, and we're going to select this sort of faded lined paint bucket here in our brush presets. And that's going to give it like a nice feathered edge, so it's a smooth transition. And what we're going to do is we're just going to erase this in the middle to kind of like create like a natural, cute little gradient thing going on here. So there you go. You can see it adds like a nice gradient, and we can even now actively change the color of this to see if that's what we really want. Like I could give it like a blue or a purple. Let's give it like a greeny blue going on here. So let's select that layer mask again. Just click the big square in your layers folder, or your layers window, I should say, not folder. And on your sidebar, there's like, let me pop this out so it's a little easier to see. On the sidebar, there's this black and there's this white. The one that's in the front is your foreground color. The one that's in the background is your background color. Black makes shit disappear when you're using layer masks, and white makes them appear again. So we can actually, let's undo that. Let's make this brush super duper ridiculously big, and we can kind of like, we can just give it like a touch, just a sweet little blending of colors. There we go, yeah. Well, no, that's too much. Nope, too much, Larry. You're getting crazy. That's okay right there, and we'll just pop a little bit in there. And then that's a little bit much blue. That's kind of too much blue. So let's go to opacity, and we'll just knock that down. So now we've got like the Dread Panda. Maybe you don't like that, maybe you do. In fact, let's add like multiply to this. There we go. That kind of looks like a crispy color to it now. Multiply is one of these layer filters. When you're combining two layers, one on top of the other, one of the things you can do is use these. If you're curious as to what each of these does, I suggest you Google it. It's kind of confusing. All of that stuff kind of has to do with photography and how you expose images when you print them by hand. So these are all methods. I mean, Photoshop, it's meant to edit photos. A lot of this stuff is throwbacks to when you used to work in a Lightroom, you know? So it can be a little bit janky and confusing. So here we go. We got like this cool Dread Panda thing. Now, it's kind of hard to see all this. Maybe we ought to grab these two layers and just select the... We just hit Control or Command and click the open window with the picture of whatever's in that layer. And that'll select that layer with the dancing lines here. And let's add another adjustment layer. Let's throw on some curves. Let me move this back down. My my layers window is all jacked up right now. Go away, 3D window. You're not friends with me. Go away. Stupid 3D. Being spicy and crap. I don't use it that often, so if you need more information on that, let me know and I'll do another tutorial after I reteach myself how that works. So now that we've got the Dread Panda logo selected, we can mess around with these curves to change how the lighting works. So the bottom end here, where the dark line is on the guide, on the edges, this is the shadows in whatever object you're messing with. And the top is the light areas, so you can make the light areas darker or brighter. And we kind of just want to lighten it up a little bit. And that's not terrible. Like, you can kind of read that from a distance, all the way zoomed out. I kind of like where that's going, but maybe we could add a little pizzazz. So let's grab all that stuff, dump it in a new folder. We'll call that the logo. Logo. And a lot of this stuff is like horsing around with logos. So like, don't be afraid to play with your banner, but know that basic is better than ridiculously complex. You feel me? Like, I have pretty basic logos myself when it comes to, like, Chupacabra tutorials. And wherever the hell, here's mine. Here's my PSD file that contains my banner. We can actually open up mine real fast and play around with it. So all mine is I've got this, like, Tetris design here with a shadowy stroke applied to it, so it's somewhat transparent. And in the background is a polygon wallpaper that I created. So it's pretty simple and straightforward. The thing that I spent the longest was getting the colors right on my Chupacabra's lair text. And this would later go on to be used to create the text in the channel tutorial wallpaper. Let me close off some of these other images that we're not using, like Katarina and her tatas. I'm not going to use Isaac Clarke because he's lame, he's boring. Here we go. So we could also add, like, a couple of things to this. Let's duplicate our logo again, just so we have a copy in case we need it. I'm going to right-click the new folder and say Merge Group to give me one solid image to play around with. I'm going to copy that again, and we can go into Filter Gallery. And there's all sorts of crap we can play around with in here. Oh, look at that thing. So we can use, like, cross-hatching to add, like, a really weird sticking out effect to it. And then it's, like, previewed here for us to mess around with. Isn't that neat? Or we can do, like, accented edges, which will make the edges of it glow weird. Dark strokes, which doesn't really help us. What we're looking for here is we're kind of wanting to add, like, a funky texture to it. But this Sumi looks pretty cool. It's kind of like a Dracula thing going on. You can add neon edges to it. You can make it all patchwork, like it's covered in squares. And if you, like, click this button here at the bottom to add a new layer, you can add even more patchwork, but that looks kind of weird. So does that. Let's delete this extra layer. Let's go back to the patchwork. So this is kind of like pixelated, if it wants to behave itself. So you can kind of see it's a little pixely, like it's made out of little cubes, yeah? See that? That's one way of adding, like, a texture to it. I kind of like this Sumi thing. This adds, like, a dark, sinister glow to it, like you're in an extra dimension. So let's throw that. Oh, look at that. That looks cool. And now we can blend that by using the opacity to kind of make it look all blown out and sinister-y. The Dread Panda. Oh my gosh, what is he gonna do to our faces? Oh, look at that. Yeah, I mean, it adds, like, a cool shadow effect to it. I kind of like that. But now, unfortunately, it's kind of hard to see. So I'm gonna throw a layer right here underneath of that. Do you see this weird thing? This is a new feature in OS X where, like, you swish your thing around and it makes your cursor bigger so you can see where it is. Isn't that weird? Alright, so we added a fresh, brand new empty layer underneath of this, and if you think it's hard for people to read this, you can hit B to get out your brush, your feathered brush. That's what this little sort of blurry one is here. It makes a nice blurry thing. See how, like, those edges are kind of nice and they fade out cleanly? That's what you want that for. So we're going to select the white, and that's too big. That's too big of a thing. And we're going to lightly throw a bit of that behind the logo. No, we're not just going to leave it like that. Don't be weird. We're going to go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. And we're going to make that, we're going to smudge that really hardcore. If it wants to behave itself, which it doesn't. Filter, Blur, let's go with a motion blur again. Yeah, that's not terrible. I don't really like that angle, though. Let's make it like this. And let's make it not quite so dramatic. In fact, we can add, like, a double blur to this. Blur, Gaussian blur. That's fine, I guess. And then we can grab this object, smoosh it down to whatever size we want. Throw it behind the Dread Panda if you think it's hard to read this bad mammal-jammal. There we go. And then you can kind of play around with the opacity. It's like an accent light behind your title. But I think it looks okay without that. I think we'll delete that. What we can do is we can just select this top layer, add another adjustments layer, and just kind of bump up the shadows a little bit while maintaining the contrast of the lights. Oh, you know, the automatic kind of wants to just bring down the middle, but I'm going to bring it up just a smidge so it's pretty readable. And this is at like an opacity of like 20%. Why don't we bump this back up to like 70? And then we'll add another one of those alpha layers, another layer mask to that top logo layer there. And then we can sort of manually blend it to the way that we'd like. Whoops, that's the wrong setting. I want the black. There we go. It's kind of faded out, so it's all sinister-y looking, but it's not super crazy. Yeah, although it's kind of pink looking. Do you like that? I don't think I like that. So let's grab these again. Merge those layers together in a folder so that we have the originals left, and I want to like mess with the colors a little bit. So let's it's kind of getting pink. It's getting a little too pink for my blood. So let's bump up the saturation on it so that it looks a bit more red and kind of melted. Bring down the darkness a little bit. So that's a nicer kind of orangey red going on here. Although it does look really weirdly melted. It depends on what you like. Just play around with the effects until you have something you want. And now, if we click Control Alt or Shift Control or Shift Command S, you can save this out as Dread Panda Template. So that's what we'll keep this as. Final template for YouTube is what I'll make this. And I'll give this to you guys to fart with on your own. You can download it from my Google Drive, play around with it to your heart's content. So we're going to save the PSD document, so we've got it for later. And now I will save a big, fat, delicious JPEG. And what was the size limitation? There is a limit to how big this file can be when you upload it to Google Plus when you add it to your profile. I think it's like 25 megabytes, so just keep it under that. When we save this as a JPEG, which is what we're doing right here, it's going to be dreadpandatemplate.jpg. It's going to bring up this JPEG option about the quality level that we want for this image. Now, there's not a lot of crazy stuff going on here when we save it. There's just the Dread Panda, some stuff, and a background. If there's a lot of complex stuff going on in this image, it's going to be freaking huge. But this one is under a megabyte. You might be able to see right here, it's 800 and, what is that, 55.6 K, which is like kilobytes. And that's like, you know, 1,001 of those or whatever is like a megabyte. So this is under a meg, even at full quality of 12. So we're going to save that as baseline standard and hit OK. And now if we look in our folder, if I go find the folder first off, that's down here next to all these crazy screenshots and shit. Oh, that's the thing I did earlier. YouTube, Red Group. I did a banner. Where did the banner thing go? I made a banner folder. YouTube banner. Channel wall. Where did the banner thing go? Gosh dang it. Let me try to save a picture out. Video game wallpaper. We'll just pretend like we're gonna grab something to use. Give me this wallpaper. I want to see it. Oh, really, Reddit with your sauce? Just give me the flickin' direct link. Okay, this is in channel wallpaper. Oh, that's just under channel wallpaper. I thought I put YouTube in front of it. I'm not braining that good right now. So if we go into the final template folder, here it is, the Dread Panda channel banner that we could immediately go and upload to the channel and place so that it looks super sexy on all the mobile devices and junk. Isn't that cool? Yeah, so that's basically how that works. And if you want to find a font to kind of brand yourself on your own channel, there's places like DaFont.com, DaFont. And this is just full of free fonts that you can use for whatever the hell you want. We can type in like a preview thing that we want to see. So let's see here. I like a nice sans serif font, which is basically sans serif means it's clean. It doesn't have any floors or fancy stuff to it. So we'll just go to the basic sans serif department. And let's sort by newest first and see what we've got in here. Oh, there's not so bad. I mean, none of this is specifically super sweet. Maybe we can go into cartoony. There's like some cartoony fonts if you want to be like a retro gamer and play retro games. And then you can even put in a preview. So let's say like you're awesome not, how would you spell that? 45. And you could preview awesome not 45 and see how that would look in each one of these fonts that you're looking up. But if you see something like these white blocks, these white empty things, that means that whoever created this font didn't create it with numbers or certain types of symbols attached to it, which isn't uncommon. I mean, when you're an aspiring font creator and you make shit for free, you can't expect the moon, guys. Let's be honest here. Maybe we want something techno. Let's see, LCD, techno, LCD. Oh, look at that stuff. That's kind of neat. We could go to sci-fi fonts, which are a little bit more Transformers-esque, kind of retro sci-fi from the 80s. And this stuff's all free. You can also find stuff on LostType.com. And this is a place where, like, independent designers create fonts that you can download for free, but if you use one of these fonts, give them some money. It's kind of one of those pay-what-you-want systems. This is where I got my font. And there's some good stuff in here. So I think that's it for this one, ladies and gentle germs. We've talked about creating your own channel banner. I've included the template in the description for you, I'm sure. If not, bitch at me so I upload it. It's not very big. And yeah, I'll catch you crazies next time. Let me know if you have any questions, or hey, if you want me to critique your channel wallpaper, or / banner, I should call it, link it to me in the comments section to get my opinion, because I do work as a graphic designer. I'd be more than happy to take a look at it and tell you, like, oh, maybe it's got too much stuff, maybe it doesn't have enough, maybe it's hard to read. I'm pretty good at gauging that kind of thing, so let me know if you want me to give you some feedback. Otherwise, I'm open to questions if you have any, especially if, like, you're confused about how to use some part of the software. Because, I mean, Photoshop is a giant, crazy mess of features. Like, it can be confusing. And until next time, don't forget to like and subscribe, especially if this video helped you out. And hey, if you really want to see more stuff from Larry and his delicious announcer voice, you can check me out on my gaming channel, which you can just go to the main channel page, and it's in the sidebar. Larry the Chupacabra. So, later, everybody. Have a good one, and I hope this helped. Bye!